So we're continuing our panel, and we have many questions that came to us from our viewers. We decided not to leave the studio because we saw that we have other things to talk about. So Tal, go ahead. So Oren, he talked about the bus, how he tried to get in, and no one waited for him. They didn't want to wait for him. I remember I had something very similar. I saw that I wanted to get into an elevator and someone wanted to get in, and I put my hand and the elevator opened, and she got in, and again we saw someone else trying to get into the elevator, and I saw that that woman also now wants to stop the elevator to let someone else in. You gave her she saw a good example exactly, and it's we might see a good or a bad example. And researchers show that if someone lies or cheats or doesn't keep the laws, then others that see him will do the very same, and so on. So we're completely interdependent. What Owen described is that were this woman to treat him like a son, then for sure she would have waited and helped him. No, it's not natural. And you say that natural wants to for us to be united. Of course it's not natural. Our ego constantly grows. I want to use the whole world in my favor. I don't want to take anyone into consideration. It's not good for me. It's not comfortable. Man's inclination is evil to begin with. He is an ego. That's natural. Yes, but you see that this brings you to a crisis, and then you have a situation here where either you keep on going with your ego, try if they'll let you, or you fall into a crisis. So what can you do? So you're constantly calculating how much can I use my ego in order to use the world, and how much can't I? I'll get blows, and it's not worthwhile doing. You would have been careful here. Now you've reached a state where that's it. Stop. We came to an end. I can't do anything in this world, even if I decrease my ego. Even if we decrease our ego, we can't return to a better state. Let's start like before, like 20 or 30 years ago, where we were a bit more, let's say, primitive, like we watch old movies, suppose. So we'll be that way? Nope. Doesn't help. Nature brought you to a state where you have to start uniting. You have to show a good example. You really have to be in mutual guarantee with everyone, and everyone shall unite. That I depend upon some person who is 1,000 miles away from me and he can really screw me, that I do feel more than 20 or 30 years ago, that's true. But that I reach some kind of a stop, no, I see that I can still exploit other people and all those around me, still keep on exploiting people. This war will end in a few days or weeks and we'll keep on exploiting each other, so I don't understand how now getting on the site, studying there for 1 or 2 weeks, suddenly I become, try it. No, 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 no. There are two things here. The first one is each person goes on the site and reads something, sees different clips, proof, different small things. Afterwards, people start getting together, exchanging opinions. What happens then? It's a kind of a feeling that I've experienced on the round table events which we make. You come to an hour and a half conversation, you come out a different person. How do we do it? With the Arabs, with the Russian people, with the Israelis, with everyone, and also what we're doing all over the world in Toronto, New York, Berlin. You start feeling that there's a kind of a warmth that's spreading, and we reach solutions which are much more qualitative. So the donation that everyone makes to this discussion is very essential. On my own, I would have never been able to reach such answers or solutions, and one of the strongest experiences that I had is the amazing people that we have in our society that are doing good things, but each one of us is doing it himself on their own. And when we sit together, we rediscover each other and we rediscover the force that we have in cooperation. So, are you saying that there's some kind of a lawfulness to the relations between us? Like, yeah. So, we have to teach people how to work according to these laws. Is there like a list of laws or what? Look, it's easy. We're in nature. There are many laws here. The laws of behavior that your mom taught you how to behave. But there are inner laws inside nature that this way we develop and become interconnected. Our problem in our world is that a person thinks that he can do whatever he feels like, that he is free. I was born, thank God now. I'm grown up, don't depend on anyone, I can do whatever I feel like. If you're on some deserted island, then that's your own concern. Also it's a question, but suppose. But if you're in human society, you can't do what you feel like. And it's not that society itself decides. That's not the problem. The problem is that in human society as a socium, it has its own laws. This is what psychology teaches, that there are, or learns, that there are different laws inside there, like we've developed throughout evolution. Look how we developed from, suppose, 5,000 years ago. We developed gradually, that our ego used to grow and pushed us constantly to develop, and more. We didn't know the kind of law according to which we're developing now. When we look back, we see that there's a certain tendency to it, and history teaches about it, and it learns about from economics and the development of man and the ego and so on. You can see that there's a law to this whole development, that it develops according to a certain graph, and then when we look at this graph, we can think a bit, make approximations for the future, what's going to happen from this point on. That's called science. So inside this, we discover that human society has a special force, has a special law, has a special direction. We are undergoing a special historic process. We are incapable of doing anything about it. We can't stop it. We can't stop it or change it. But if we will be interconnected between us, we will experience it, we will feel it differently. This law doesn't apply to Gaza. It applies only to me. No, it applies to the whole world. So what's happening today? This law works on the whole of humanity to a different extent. Different how? To the extent to which the different parts in humanity are different in their development, accordingly the law applies to them. Suppose there is a family that is not that developed. He is, suppose, mentally challenged. How do you treat him? You protect him lovingly, and there is a normal child developed and everything. From him you demand. Same here. I don't want to, God forbid, say that about our neighbors or anything, but in our world there are different levels of development. So according to your perception, the most developed nation are the people of Israel, and therefore they are demanded more than others. And if you also examine in percentage how much care and concern and you have volunteering for each other, helping each other, I'm sure that Israel is first place in the world. I don't think so. I'm sure. Show me how many voluntary organizations there are in Israel, and I see that people do want to volunteer, to do things for society. We're taught to do so from kindergarten. You just want to say that each nation has their particular demands toward them. And maybe we are in deficit, even though, as you say, we might be doing more than anyone else. Just like you gave me that example with a developed child. So relatively, you are falling behind, and this is why you're getting blows. So what is the demand? To feel Oren the way I feel my child? That's the demand? Impossible. Maybe we'll start from sitting together. With all respect to science, and I'll study a course and whatever, this is how I'll feel. Guys, let's not talk about emotional things until we experience them. We see that bit by bit, we can reach a state this way where I will feel others like myself. It's called love another as thyself. And you can advance toward that. Please tell me, were you to suddenly discover right now that Oren is your son, and you didn't know about it, you were lied to, and suddenly, I don't know, somehow you discover, like in a Hollywood movie, and God forbid, suppose you would have discovered that your son is not your own son. How would you disrespect him, throw him away, curse the whole family and all that you've invested in them, and now aim everything toward him? It all depends on how you renew your feelings, your emotions. So through the integral education, you start seeing in sense how we're all interconnected, and suddenly you discover that all of Israel are friends, all of Israel are brothers, and you start treating them not like brothers, like his children constantly fighting at home, but really like brothers. So you want to say that through an orderly process, we can awaken these feelings? Yes. We have a tendency in our genes? Yes, it exists. We have to merely awaken it. It's there because we've already been there. No nation has that. Now you have to understand why is it all aimed at us. You don't want to talk about history, so okay, I'm not going there, but we were already in such a state. We were already together. We have accepted the arvut, the mutual guarantee upon ourselves. We already existed as a nation of one man and one heart. We have reached unity, and from the moment we left it, we went into exile, and we came back until we completely fell into unfounded hatred. So all the wars we know about from the past is because we lost our connection? Of course, it says that in all the books. All this history is well known. There is information in my genes that Oren is my brother, meaning if I start studying a bit, a few weeks now. No, not just so. In your genes, if you're Jewish, you have... It says so, I don't know. Overseas, that's what I was told. Okay, so in your genes, you have reshimon, the so-called impression from the arvut you were in 2,000 years ago. And now, why did you come back here to the land of Israel? In order to become the people of Israel, meaning once again to resurrect yourself as a people connected together according to the law of arvut. Psychology says so, it's not exactly science. Wait a second. Your wife, she runs a genetic lab? Yes. Ask her. Is it in our genes? She made the research. In the genes, yes. They discovered in the laboratory that in our genes there is the Cohen, the Levites, Israel, and so on. They didn't discover that there is an impression from the connection. They can't discover that yet, but I'm sure that it is possible to discover that these genes are unique in terms of their being interconnected. They have the ability to connect to all other genes, and the other genes don't, meaning the genes of the other nations don't. It's interesting. She said that not much money is invested into all of these researchers, like to discover the collective mind and so on. If they would invest into the collider, a couple of billions, discovering different connections between people, we can discover a lot of things, I'm sure. But it's hard to find investors because it doesn't sell. Unity doesn't sell. Don't worry. I just like to share with you that I read this interesting article about brain research. We discover how the mind works, and it was a very, very interesting title. The Club of the Rich in Mind. Apparently in the mind there are a few more centers that are more central, and how are they rich? They're most interconnected. They are the most internal, most important parts of the brain, and they're rich in terms of being more connected to the rest of the pieces, passing information, life to the rest of the brain. And it's amazing how qualitatively we define wealth today. The more I have than others, and in terms of nature, in terms of our bodily systems, the richer you are means the more you can help the other parts. It's something that exists around us in nature, even in our own body. Meaning, maybe we are that central point of the mind of humanity, interconnected to the rest of the pieces, that has a role but does not acknowledge it yet. The truth is that I don't feel that comfortable in the past few minutes with this, in this place of superiority that we ascribe to ourselves. Why superiority? It's uniqueness, not superiority. It's uniqueness. The whole world points at you that way. No, there is a condescending here, but it's obligating. It's not that I'm superior to you. We're the developed kid in the family. We're superior. No. Incorrect. You're developed only in order to realize the connection, unity, and the rest of the things you're not developed. If we look at you besides science, you are not developed. Who else could hold the sway in our situation? According to which proof do you exist here at all? Look, I don't understand. We said that we're the developed kid in the house, and therefore we're demanded. There's more demanded from us, and it's an elitistic approach. I wouldn't choose that. Believe me, they told me so. And now Tal added that we are brain cells. It's real racism. This is a research made in genes, but we applied it to the Jews now. Yeah, but the Jews were examined. Nazis started checking it. What's interesting is, what is real? What does it mean to be rich? To exploit others, or to be more connected to others and being to serve them, give them? This is what's interesting, that it shows that in nature the values are opposite to what humans have. And yes, our people, maybe they can help change these values, like you said, that we have volunteering in our blood and this desire to volunteer and help. That you're special, you can't deny it. You can't. Everyone says that about you, that you're special. Furthermore, that you're so special that you don't have place in this world at all. Maybe you came from some other planet. Go there. Go back. And what is your response? My response is, yeah, I'm special. Do you know how I give lectures in different places where I come overseas? I tell them, I want now, and before me they're sitting respectable people, I want to explain on a conversation why you hate us. Yeah? And I explain calmly, nicely, and they agree. So what's the next sentence after the sentence that says that, yeah, I'm unique? You're unique how? How am I unique? What do you say? I can bring negative arguments what you're unique in. I'll tell you what. The Jews, they're, turning the whole world monetarily. They're ruling the world with their money. This is what's special about them. This small minority is ruling the world. How is that possible? You're an expert in economics. Yeah, they twist economics. They have the best positions. Please tell me, how can they do it? I don't know. They have something in their mind. They know how to, make money. So you want to say they're smarter. I don't know if they're smarter. Then if so, you're a racist. Okay, fine, you're continuing my line. I can tell you negatively how you're unique, but this is what you want to take pride in. No, I'm not taking pride in that. I'm simply saying that we have to correct that we have to see special in good and not in the bad. That we're special, that's that. You can't do anything about that. Everyone points at that. Everyone knows that. A Jew, then already something, he's not like us. You don't know what they feel like. We, all of us, and it includes black, white, yellow, red, doesn't matter who, it's us. When they see the Jewish person, it's something outside of us. It's on the inside, this feeling. And it comes, you know where it comes from? Because you have the gene of the mutual guarantee inside you. Wait a second. Let's go to the unique and to be unique in terms of good. To be unique in terms of good, it means that we can unite, reach unity between us, a good, nice, warm connection called mutual guarantee, arvut hadadit. It doesn't come simply so. You have to study, you have to learn how to do it, go through a few workshops, and in 1, 2, 3 weeks, a few workshops, even after one time, suddenly you feel that something new opens up. And you suddenly feel and start understanding that through that you can find a new approach to society and the world. And if you show this thing to the rest of the world who is in crisis, they will accept it because they have no choice, only this being the savior. So you are unique in terms of knowing how to relate to Benzi like to your own child. That's what makes you special. Guys, let's get into let's get on the arvut.org site. Let's open a course. Maybe we'll start teaching. Okay, great. Let's start teaching. Let's do it in practice. Okay, so I see that our panel is about teaching the theme of the arvut, the mutual guarantee. It's a process that anyone can go through. Besides that, we solve our problem and we solve the problem of the rest of the world, which is actually it's a worldwide problem, but we're the first in the equation. Yeah, be light for the nations. There was this event called Uniting, took place all over Israel, and they said, friends that were there said that a few tourists went by and they were stunned to see how citizens sit in the middle of the square, city square, talking, discussing things, and they were very impressed. They said, the tourists, that they felt that there's something very unique about it. Inside our people, our nation, there is this attitude. We were never divided into different classes and castes. Everyone was always equal. It comes from there, from our root. There's no one great or small here. Everyone's equal. Everyone feels themselves, besides the sages, that it is accepted that you were a sage or something like that. It was always respectable, a great teacher and so on. But it was that was respectable, and it wasn't this way in any other nation, only by us. How many percent of the people listening to us now, and you think that they'll start the course, their situation will change? Because we're talking about the bombs falling now, and probably it will continue for some time. Suppose they hear us now. Suppose from this day on we start the course, and a few people will start studying with us, a few thousands, and then what? Immediately we'll feel that the situation is changing? I don't think, like she says, that it can change from just one time. From one time, for sure, a person sees that there is something about this method that changes him and changes his connection with others. I at least promise Owen that the bus driver will stop and wait for him after he'll study on such a course. Yes. So we'll continue with the bus driver, sure. So we're ending our panel this time. Be with us, and we have a lot of things coming up. And don't forget, arvut.org, the solution for the situation. Thank you, and all the best.